Good evening, everyone. I'm Mallory, one of your two hosts for this evening's edition of Higher Ed Live, the weekly web show for marketing and web professionals. You can tune into Higher Ed Live on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Time at higheredlive.com/live and join in tonight's conversation using the hashtag Higher Ed Live. You can follow me at Mallory Wood. So tonight we've got a massively huge and fabulous and exciting episode for you. We are announcing 2 new channels. We are announcing 5 new hosts, and it is just like the most exciting thing ever. I have been waiting for weeks for this episode, so I hope everyone watching at home is as excited as we are. I'll tell you a little bit about myself, and then I'll introduce my co-host for tonight, and then we will not waste any time and get into some really awesome news. So by day, I'm the Director of Marketing for which means that I get to work with potential clients and help identify ways that mStoner can partner with them on projects. I also manage all of our marketing endeavors, and that gives me the very distinct pleasure of managing edUniverse Media, which includes our book publications, eduniverse.org, and Higher Ed Live, of course. I would love to introduce my colleague, Fran Zablocki, a strategist at mStoner, and my co-host for tonight. Fran, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Mallory. As Mallory mentioned, I'm a strategist at mStoner, and that means I get to work with schools from all over the country to help them evaluate digital communications needs and come up with plans to create great web content, social media strategies, really just get to work with a lot of awesome people in higher education from all over the place, which is great. I also have the pleasure to help Mallory out behind the scenes with a lot of the Higher Ed Live planning. So I'm equally as excited about all the cool stuff we've got in store for you today, all the great announcements and the new people we're going to be adding to the network. So we'll get into that momentarily, but I want to give a shout out to our sponsors first. Our first sponsor, Omni Update, is the leading web content management system provider for higher education. The company's web CMS, OU Campus, is secure and scalable with great tools and features, deployment flexibility, and an awesome user community. Is the use of XML and XSL a deal for the higher ed website? Check out Omni Update's white paper for the benefits and tips for that topic, and we're tweeting a link to them right now. They're at Omni Update on Twitter. So take a look and make sure to give them a follow. Higher Ed Live is also sponsored by Integral, the creators of the Schools app, a private Facebook community to boost enrollment and retention. Check out their blog, Integral Insights, for posts on admissions marketing, student engagement, and social media in higher education. And we're tweeting a link to their blog as well. All right, so before I get into some of the bigger announcements, I wanted to start things off with an announcement that we are going to be putting together a weekly newsletter that's going to keep you better informed on all the network's upcoming shows and announcements. We're going to have a lot of content every week, and we wanted to introduce a means to communicate all of that to you in a nice, easy format so you can digest it quickly week to week. It's going to contain a lot of good announcements about upcoming shows. It's going to actually take a look back at Higher Ed Live's history and pull some really good shows out of the archives and link to those. So there is going to be a lot of good information as part of that newsletter. And we are going to be tweeting, of course, a link out to a way to sign up for that newsletter on Twitter momentarily. And I'll turn things back over to Mallory for our first show announcements.
All right, well, tonight, thanks, Fran, by the way. I guess I have to just say that newsletter, we're really excited about it, so I'm going to give it an extra plug, and I'll be tweeting it out from my Twitter account as well. Definitely sign up. It'll keep you much more informed about what's happening on the network. But we are going to kick off the show with some announcements about our Student Affairs Live channel. The first announcement is actually a little bittersweet. Ed Cabellin, who has, as many of you know, been the host of Student Affairs Live for just over a year, recently announced that this fall he'll be starting a doctoral program in educational leadership at Johnson & Wales University. University. He's been a wonderful host, a friend, and such an important part of our Higher Ed Live family, and he will always be a big part of that family. But Ed will be no longer hosting Student Affairs Live because he will be taking on that doctoral program. So unfortunately, Ed is traveling tonight, so he wasn't able to join our broadcast. But he wrote up a goodbye message. It's brief, and I would just like to read it now on his behalf. Ed says, "Dear Student Affairs Live friends, I'm excited to announce that in the fall, I will be starting my doctoral work in educational leadership. As excited as I am, it is with great reluctance that I step down as host of Student Affairs Live to open up the necessary time to dedicate to my studies. It was an amazing opportunity to grow the show's content and reach this year, and my hope is that however many episodes you watched, that you learned something valuable and were inspired to do something with it." Ed plans on doing 2 more shows in July to close out his time on Student Affairs Live, and the dates are going to be announced, so stay tuned for that. But he guarantees that the shows will be jam-packed and filled with really great information. Ed says that until then, his gratitude goes out to the entire I'm Stoner family, especially Mallory, Michael, and Fran, for all their help in welcoming him into the fold. He knows that he'll stay connected, and he hopes to collaborate on future higher education projects together with the Higher Ed Live network. So finally, Ed says thank you to all the viewers for your support of the show. He's truly grateful to be connected both digitally and in person, and he sends his best. And Ed, I know you'll watch this archive, and you should know that we send you our best. We're sad to see you go, but you've been such a truly wonderful piece of this network, and Higher Ed Live wouldn't be the same without the last year of your participation.
Well said, Mallory. Thank you, Ed. And we cannot say goodbye to Ed without first saying hello to a new host for SA Live. So I am pleased to introduce the world to Mike Hamilton. Mike has been Ed's producer and sidekick since he started doing broadcast web video. He has 7 years of professional experience in residence life and operations, and his current role as assistant director of Worcester Polytechnical Institute focuses on many years of student affairs, areas of student affairs, including summer conferences, student conduct, marketing, and technology. So Mike is stepping out from behind the curtain, and wanted to just let you take a chance to introduce yourself and talk a little bit, Mike, about what you are going to be working on as far as producing Student Affairs Live.
Well, thank you, Fran. Thank you, Mallory. It is awesome to work with you guys. I'm very excited for what we're going to do. I guess first I have to say thank you to Ed. I've been working with Ed on video for a while. He is definitely a mentor to me. He is awesome. He's revolutionary. He comes up with great ideas. I don't know how I'm going to follow him, but I'm going to do my best. And we have some ideas from some great shows. I think they're going to try to take it from a topical perspective in student affairs and really look at some of those functional areas, because we bridge a lot of gaps. And I'm really going to look to the community to see what we can do and kind of grow this show with all of you. But we have a great community out there for student affairs, and that community has been active, and I think we can do some great things. So I'm very, very, very excited.
We are so glad that you are able to join us, and we can't wait to see what you have in store. So thanks very much, Mike. Mallory, next exciting announcement.
Yes, again, also around Student Affairs Live. We are so excited to welcome a new sponsor to the network, and that new sponsor is Hire One. So with us tonight is Annemieke Rice, who's the Director of Student Success at Hire One. Annemieke, we are so thrilled to be welcoming Hire One to the Higher Ed Live family. Why don't you tell us a bit more about Hire One and why sponsoring the Higher Ed Live network is important to you?
Thanks, Mallory. So great to be here. I'm excited to be able to join the community today and to represent Hire One. We have been part of the student affairs community for quite a while now. I've been here at Campus Labs branch of Hire One for 5 years, and a student affairs professional myself. So at Hire One, we're really hoping to make as big an impact as we can across campuses. We work with about 650 schools right now, and it's all about data for us. So really helping campuses use data to make a really big impact on the student experience. As you can probably see from the space I'm in, we're data geeks, we're tech geeks here at the Campus Labs branch of Hire One, but we really want to make sure that as many people on campus can use data to help their students and to help the impact of higher ed. So as I mentioned, we're really excited to be part of this community. We're really into best practice sharing. A lot of what we do with our campuses is help them share what they're doing with the others in our member campus community. So tomorrow I'll actually be starting our first world tour, which is kind of a gathering of folks. Will be starting in Rochester sharing best practices. So this is a great addition for us to be able to sponsor this and hopefully to contribute to the conversation.
Awesome. That's so great. So I think something, Annemieke, that is so awesome about all of our sponsors on this network is that they truly do believe in contributing to the conversation. And as our viewers know, sponsors like Integral and Omni Update and Zinch over on the Admissions Live side and Welcome to College really provide amazing pieces of thought leadership in and of what they produce, and have partnered with us to help produce this thought leadership, this network. And so we are so grateful to you and the folks over at Hire One for really choosing to invest in professional development opportunities for the Student Affairs Live crowd. Now, Annemieke, I'm wondering, long term, what do you see with Hire One and the Hire Ed Live connection? Do you have any ideas about different pieces of thought leadership that we could produce together that we could get those Student Affairs Live professionals excited about today?
Absolutely. Well, I certainly want to make sure that we're participating and listening, because that's almost as important for us as contributing to the conversation is listening to it. But we're spending a lot of time right now talking about student success and reaching our students. So I think that any conversation around intelligently, or what we like to call campus intelligence, which is really just a way of, using data to start a conversation, to spark some conversations on campus and engage, is always something we're interested in being part of.
Awesome. Well, again, Annemieke, thank you so much. I know Mike is really excited that you've joined us and with your sponsorship, and we're excited, and we just really appreciate that you could be here tonight to help us make the announcement. So thank you. We are thrilled. And Fran, back to you for the first announcement tonight of our new channels. Drum roll, please.
Drum roll. Here we go. So all week long, we've been tweeting that tonight's big news would be the announcement of 2 new channels. And on Tuesday, we asked you to guess what new channels you thought we'd be adding. We got lots of great submissions. We loved all of them. We got a few that we really loved. Eric Runyon suggested Bacon Live and Showtunes Live, which we are going to take very seriously into consideration for future planning, but are not being announced tonight. Meg Bernier's guess about Social Media Live is a really, really great guess, but also not correct. A few of you, though, did actually guess correctly. So I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Ron Bronson and Tanya Oakes Smith's site, Higher Ed Solo. Well, we've teamed up with the 2 of them to create a new channel focused on the armies of one in higher education. And in honor of it being an army of one, we've combined the 2 of them and officially calling them Branya, at least for the purposes of this show. And we want to welcome the 2 of them to the show and just say that we're thrilled to have you guys as partners for Higher Ed Live and on this new channel. So I will turn things over to Rania and ask the collective, why is Solo Live so important for many institutions? Why is it important that you guys are a channel? Why are you guys going to be important to listen to?
Well, thanks, Fran. I, for one, really appreciate the combination of our 2 names together because, it makes you feel famous, kind of. Don't you think, Ron?
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, we're like Brangelina and, those kind of things. Don't we look like them?
It's a lot to live up
to. But, Fran, you asked why Solo Live is going to be important for many institutions. And I think in the past year, because the blog is almost a year old now, we've had a really good response to it. In fact, people who are solos and people who work on small teams have kind of come out of the woodwork. The people we didn't know worked by themselves. And there are a lot of people who do many different things, but, by themselves, solos. And we've discovered that the small teams have similar problems to the large teams, but you're just responsible for so many more things in the big scheme. So we've talked up this higher ed solo at conferences and online, and I've noticed that we all have communication issues. We all have silos issues. We're all trying to be innovative in a small space with fewer resources. And so these things we want to talk about on our blog, and we're excited now, really, really excited that with Solo Live, we have a broader audience to talk to. We're going to look at how people have solved problems innovatively and how those solutions can be applied to solo practitioners and small teams. And we think that working smarter and working more cost effectively, like many solos have to do, it is important and smart for business and higher ed as a whole.
And Ron, what types of topics are you looking forward to tackling?
Well, first off, I just want to say that this whole higher ed solo, first of all, can thank the whole M-Stoner team for getting us involved in this whole thing, and just thank Tanya for collaborating with me on this blog. Last year, it was a conversation at Penn State's web conference last year that exploded into this crazy thing. But as far as issues, we really want to focus on the day-to-day issues that folks face in their jobs. A lot of times folks ask us, how do you do it all as a solo? How do I do everything? And I think one of the things we've done on the blog is we've tackled those issues from a 25,000-foot, overhead view. And with a show like this once a month, being able to talk and interact with folks, we're able to really get more granular and think of these things in a structure of like a conference format. So think of it as like a conference session. Because you're going to give us your lunch hour, which we'll get into timing, I guess, in a little bit here. If you're going to give us your lunch hour, we really want to give you the opportunity to take something away. You can listen to us and then go in the afternoon and do that thing, or the next day do that thing. And so issues ranging from how to use social media better, to specific tools. I think really bringing in the kinds of guests that can lend some expertise to doing the kinds of things that you want to try in a solo environment, whether they're solos, whether they're not. I think there are a lot of folks out there who are doing amazing things as solos that we've always tried to reach out to those folks, and we found them, but we want to find legions more of them because I know they're doing smart things. Lots of folks want to learn those things. And so with a higher platform like Solo Live, we're really excited to really dig deeper into, hit all kinds of issues and to have folks tell us things that they want to hear. And I think we'll get to hear more of that. So we're pumped.
We are also pumped. I think there's a lot of people who are pumped. I'm seeing some good Twitter comments as we are speaking. So that's awesome. All right. Well, one last question for the two of you. Why don't we talk a little bit about the logistics of the show? When is the first show, and how often do you plan on having shows?
We're going to be on at noon Central Time, and I know y'all always, I'm in Central Time Zone, so that's the way my brain works. But it's going to be 1 p.m. Eastern, and in Ron's time zone, it's going to be 11 a.m. On the third Thursday of each month to start. And we're going to start in July. So that means
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Ron just caught me in. That's why we have Ron, because he fixes things. Fixes things. So that's going to be the 16th of July, right? Am I right on that?
Yeah.
One show a month. And then we're going to, if you guys like it, we deliver. We will give you more. And we hope to have y'all all join in, send us ideas for stories, and we want to hear back from y'all. We can't do the blog without you, and we certainly can't do the show without you.
Emphasis on y'all.
Hashtag y'all is going to be one of the hashtags you can follow for.
Y'all can't act like you don't say it yourselves.
I do. I can't judge. All right, great. Well, that is awesome. Thank you, Ron and Tanya, aka Rania. Let's move on to our next announcement. Mallory, I'll hand things back over to you.
Hi. I really feel like I wish I had, like at birthday parties, the things I go, woo! I know that sounds silly, but I wish there were balloons and confetti, and I'm just so excited that Ron and Tanya are joining us with Solo Live, and I just think it's really, it's going to be so fantastic. There are so many people who are going to benefit from this show. So if I am sending you internet confetti, Rania, and that is my gift to you. I think folks need to hit mute because I am getting a little background noise. And so without further ado, let's move on to our next announcement. I am really excited to announce the second new channel for tonight. Since M. Stoner took over the operations of Higher Ed Live, it has been my personal primary goal and focus to launch a channel for advancement professionals. And loyal viewers of Higher Ed Live probably have noticed that over the last 6 months, we started introducing broadcasts focused on alumni engagement, fundraising, and development episodes on the Higher Ed Live channel. These episodes have been some of the most popular and most viewed episodes over the last 6 months. So tonight, I am thrilled to share that starting in mid-July, we will be launching Advancement Live. But we can't launch a channel without a host. And this channel will not have one host, it will actually have two, who are proven thought leaders in this industry on topics like alumni engagement, development, and fundraising. So please help me welcome, drum roll please, Ryan Catherwood, Director of Engagement Strategy at University of Virginia, and Andrew Gossen, Senior Director for Social Media Strategy in the Division of Alumni Affairs and Development at Cornell University. Andrew, you win the longest title award for sure.
That's what happens when they let you choose your own title.
Thank you so much. Go ahead, Andrew. I think you have some stuff that you want to say. I will.
Sure. Thank you. I've been a fan of Higher Ed Live for a while now, and I'm really excited to join the team. I'm looking forward to working with Ryan to get some interesting conversations started for and with the advancement community. And some of the sorts of topics that I'd like to tackle as we get off the ground include things like crowdfunding, big data, the implications of user-generated content for prospect research, what will tomorrow's campaign infrastructure look like, the relationship between engagement and giving, and advancing your career in advancement. I think the range of topics we could engage with is almost limitless, and I'm really looking forward to digging into these topics.
Awesome. And Ryan, can I turn it over to you?
Yeah, please, Mallory, thanks a lot. It's fantastic to be back again on Higher Ed Live under these circumstances. I consider the opportunity to do Advancement Live with Andrew one of the most amazing opportunities of my my career. So it really means a lot to me. And I think that from an alumni engagement angle, which I'll primarily be focused on, we'll be really talking about stuff like summer send-offs, student send-offs. In the spring, we'll talk about accepted student parties. We're going to talk about measuring digital engagement. And we'll also get into stuff like volunteer management, regional engagement opportunities when it comes to clubs and chapters around the country. So I think that there's a ton of different topics, including even parent engagement. I think we often think of engagement as just alumni, but I think we'll dedicate quite a bit of time to engaging parents as well.
So, Ryan, I know that you have actually been a regular host now on the Higher Ed Live Network over the last 6 months. What have you enjoyed most about hosting, and why are you looking forward to co-hosting with Andrew?
You know what I love the most about it is actually finding the people to do the shows with, to ask to be on the shows. And I actually love doing the homework and scripting the questions and really trying to find an article that goes with the show, to give it some extra backbone, if you will. And I think that what I'm most looking forward to in working with Andrew is that, it takes all of about 2 minutes to discover what a big-time thought leader Andrew is when you first get into the alumni engagement world. And about a month ago, when I was looking for a great blockbuster show to talk about measuring alumni engagement, I looked very quickly to Andrew. So it's awesome to have him as a partner in all this, and we'll try to stay on script, but as I found when we were doing the shows, some of the best stuff happens when you just let it fly and go off script. And so I really look forward to the entirety of the opportunity, but particularly the show planning process, and hopefully I can make sure the technology portion works as well.
So Andrew, why do you think the advancement community will benefit from the show?
I think that my perspective on that actually has a lot in common with what Ryan was just saying about the fun of the research that leads into shows like this. This is a really challenging and exciting time to be working in advancement. There are lots of questions that I think we should be asking that we aren't, because we're all running to try to meet our institutional needs and to serve our constituencies as effectively as possible. But the world in which we're doing this work is actually changing at a fairly rapid pace. Some of the techniques that have served us well for decades are no longer paying the same sorts of returns that they have in the past. But at the same time, the emergence of technologies such as the social web and tools such as crowdfunding platforms are really opening up a new range of possibilities. I think Advancement Live could be a show that's a great resource for busy professionals to help make sense of this evolving landscape and keep their attention focused on the areas that are likely to pay the greatest dividends.
Ryan, I am wondering if you could unveil when the first episode in the weekly broadcast will be.
Yeah, incredibly excited to announce that Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, the first show will be Tuesday, July 16th, so it'll give us a week after the 4th of July holiday week to get everything started. But Tuesdays, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and will air every week. This first broadcast will actually be dedicated to the student send-off, summer send-off, alumni engagement, typical signature events that a lot of universities do. Sam Edelstein from Syracuse, along with Stella Maher from Emory, will be guests on the first episode. We'll look to line up a couple more, but really excited about the first show already.
Andrew, do you have any last thoughts before we move on to our last announcement?
Just that I'm really looking forward to it.
Awesome. I would definitely send you and Ryan all the internet confetti that I could send you as well. We're just super excited for this, and thank you guys for being hosts and being here tonight. And I hope the community is as excited as we are. Fran, over to you.
I'll just echo that. I am really excited to hear about all the topics that both of you just outlined. I will probably be tuning in every week unless I am running the show from behind the scenes, in which case I'll be tuning in anyway. But it sounds really, really awesome, and I'm just so excited that you guys are going to be joining us. But that's not all. Can you even believe that that's not all? We've already been through so much awesome stuff. For our last announcement this evening, we are thrilled to introduce the Higher Ed Live community to our Advancement Live sponsor, iModules. iModules is the leading constituent engagement management provider for educational institutions. Their interconnected suite of modules transforms how institutions create relevant constituent experiences and achieve fundraising success through content management, marketing communications, online giving, event management, and e-commerce and social media integration. And joining us from iModules tonight, we're very pleased to welcome the iModules president, Fred Weiss, who is a leader in the higher education advancement community with more than 20 years of experience. He brings significant product strategy, sales, professional services, general management, and leadership skills to his role as president of iModules. And I want to welcome you personally on behalf of M. Stoner and Higher Ed Live to the show. Thanks for being with us tonight, Fred.
Hey, thanks a ton, Fran. Really appreciate it. And I have to say, I wonder who wrote that introduction. It sounded pretty cool, actually.
That was all off the cuff, I swear.
So all of us here at iModules are incredibly excited to be the Advancement Live sponsor. And thanks a ton to the mStoner team for asking us to be involved. We're big fans of Higher Ed Live, as a matter of fact, and we've gathered members of our staff together to listen to some of the great advancement content, including the session that Ryan mentioned earlier, the great show on measuring engagement. It's a really hot topic for our customers. So as Fran mentioned, iModule's single focus for the last 10 years has been around helping institutions create deeper, more relevant relationships with their constituents through our Constituent Engagement Management, or CEM platform. So as Fran mentioned, it includes website hosting, content management, and tools for email marketing, online giving, social media integration, a few other things. What's critical, though, for our clients about deepening those relationships is to create shared value for both the constituent and for the institution, and that's what we hope our solutions do. We've got over 900 websites that we host for our clients, the vast majority of whom are higher ed institutions, publics and privates, large and small. They manage over 90 million constituent records. That's more than 30% of the entire U.S. population. They do that on our platform, and in 2012, they sent over 850 million emails through our platform and generated over $230 million in total revenue. That's event registrations, online giving, online memberships, and e-commerce. And a lot of them will be joining us at the end of July for Sizzler, which is our annual user group meeting. We hold it here in Kansas City, and if any of you have ever been to Kansas City in July, you know why they call it Sizzler. And what we're really excited about is that Michael Stoner is going to be our keynote speaker, and we know that our clients are really thrilled about that as well. So we're also thrilled that Advancement Live is going to be hosted by Ryan Capperwood and Andrew Gossen. We know that they're going to lead incredibly instructive, educational, and maybe even some controversial discussions about the power and practice of advancement. What's great about constituent engagement in our mind is that it touches all the core legs of the advancement chair: constituent relations, communications and marketing, development and fundraising, and advancement services. And so we think that connecting what we do with the broad Advancement Live landscape is a no-brainer, and we can't wait to hear more about the conversations and maybe even contribute as well. So thanks again for the opportunity to sponsor Advancement Live. And with that, Fran, I'll hand it back to you.
Great.
And I'm going to steal the mic from you, Fran. Woo, stolen.
It's stolen.
I just want to say, Fred, as you were just bringing up Sizzler, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that today and tomorrow, in honor of Michael's keynote at the Sizzler conference, as well as your sponsorship of Higher Ed Live, which we couldn't technically say all week because nobody knew about it yet. But in honor of both events, we're actually giving a 20% discount on the Social Works ebook. You can get that in the iBook store or on Amazon. And so I will tweet out a link from my account and from the Higher Ed Live account in a few minutes. Or you can go to the mStoner blog and find that blog post, and the link is in there. But kind of in honor of these new partnerships, we're just so excited, and we're giving that 20% discount out. So Fred, thanks a bunch, and Fran, Mike pass back to you.
Okay, virtual mic taken. All right. Well, I know we have a couple of small wrap-up announcements to make, but they're good ones. So I'm actually going to bounce it back to you, Mallory. I want you to be able to read the kind words that Ashley Hennigan, our host for Admissions Live, left since she could not be here this week. So take it away, Mallory.
Yeah, Ashley's traveling tonight as well. Her bridal shower is this weekend, so she is on the road. Congratulations, Ashley. But as many of you know, she's the host and producer of Admissions Live, and she had a few words to share. So I will read those to you now. Hello, Higher Ed Live colleagues and viewers. Ashley, I wish I could be there tonight virtually. I didn't want to miss this opportunity to congratulate everyone on the many milestones this evening. Ed, best of luck with your doctoral program. Your presence on Student Affairs Live will be missed. Mike, welcome to the big time. Ashley's looking forward to working with you. Ron and Tanya, Ashley had this message for you. What a fantastic addition to the Higher Ed Live Network. We were founded as a place for digital development and professional empowerment, and I can't think of anyone more suited to make big industry issues more accessible and manageable for our colleagues who work as an army of one. And last but not least, Ryan, Andrew, and Fred, Ashley had this to say. It is a channel that's been on the wish list as a network for quite some time, and she's honored and excited to help launch this phenomenal channel and have such phenomenal hosts who will surely steer conversations about alumni affairs and development in the direction the industry needs to go. Ashley hopes that those of you tuning in are as excited as her. More internet confetti. Congratulations, she says to everyone, and she is just, she's just so thrilled, and she wishes she could be here tonight.
Thanks, Ashley. Great message, and really appreciate your kind words. I'm sure I speak on behalf of everybody from the team. So, all right, a couple small announcements before we wrap up. Next week's episode is going to be hosted by Doug Gopinski, fellow strategist at M-Stoner, and Kyle Bowen, director of informatics at Purdue University. That's a cool title. They are going to be focusing on the digitally augmented science fiction classroom. Purdue's strategy for the new classroom that goes beyond online courses. They're also going to be talking about Passport, a learning system that demonstrates academic achievement through digital badges. And they're going to be talking about the history of how ITAP set up studio projects, who is involved, and what your IT department might be able to learn from them. Kyle is an author and has contributed to more than 20 books within the areas of web design, development, and usability, and his work has been featured by the New York Times, USA Today, CNET, and the Chronicle of Higher Education. Tweeting out a link to their handles and a link to the description right now. One more shout out for the Higher Ed Live newsletter. I know we've sent out the correct link a little while back, and so please be sure to take a look at that and sign up. And last but definitely not least, I want to give a shout out to the man who is behind the curtain, Brendan Sims, who is our technical production specialist, who is the one who is making all of this happen while we're all enjoying a nice conversation here. And I wanted to give him the opportunity to just say hello to everybody, introduce himself, and he's got one last thing to share that I think you're all going to be excited about.
You know what? Unfortunately, Fran, I think that Brendan actually can't come on himself because his face won't show up on his own computer.
Oh my gosh! All right,
technology crazy.
Take my word for it. He's a dashingly handsome man and a really great guy. Can we show the video though? Are we going to be able to cue that up? Awesome. All right, here we go.
Great.
Take a look. Thank you very much. So that is just a little taste of some of the introductions that we're going to have at the beginning of all of our shows from here out. So
thanks, Brendan.
Brendan did a great job putting that video together. Thanks very much. All right, well, that pretty much is a wrap, right, Mallory? I think we're good. I think that's enough for one night. So thanks, everybody, for hanging in there. And, again, just super excited to see all the cool stuff we have in store for this year. And with that, I think we'll bid you a good evening.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us tonight. Fran, thanks for co-hosting with me. And Higher Ed Live community, I hope you're as excited as we are. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next week on Higher Ed Live, the live weekly web show for marketing and web professionals. And don't forget, you can tune in at higheredlive.com/live every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Thanks, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.